Okay, welcome back. Josh here. And today we'll be talking about the CW effect. I wanted to kind of do a version of like a film soapbox.
Sex! Now that I have your attention.
First and foremost, this is just going to be completely subjective. Sometimes the way that I believe it is objective, but it's just my opinion. Keeping that in mind, there's a couple things that I want to warn everybody about. One, I have bad taste. I've been told this many times when it comes to movies, when it comes to TV shows, when it comes to music, when it comes to pretty much everything. I have bad taste. I get it. Another thing is that this is not a video essay. I'm not going to be, going down the rabbit hole, giving you a thesis and a million different points into how I feel and what my view is, all that kind of shit. It's basically, like I said, a soapbox. I'm just going to be yelling out things. And lastly, I suffer from devil's advocate syndrome, which basically is a thing that my wife hates. And pretty much every one of my friends, my family, everybody, They probably just hate it. But the whole thing is that I have a tendency to look at things with the devil's advocate point of view, even if I don't like it or if I do like it. Josh, what is the CW effect? Moments in a TV show or movies that remind you of a CW production. You're watching something and then all of a sudden you're like, oh God, what was this, made by the CW? Oh, this is just so bad, it's probably a CW production. CW has built this reputation of really bad productions, more specifically when it comes to these moments of what makes you think of this. One, the acting. Even in great movies or TV shows, that all of a sudden there will be an actor there and you're like, how did they get to this point in which they have been hired and almost paid, and maybe even a regular, where you're just like, they're just so bad, and I can't stand it every time that they're on screen. I can't do it. There is a show that my wife loves called Outlander. It's basically just porn. There are really good actors on that, and there is one particular bad actor that I'm not going to name. Every time that they're on screen, holy shit, it boils my blood. It's as if they don't know anything of the environment that they're in, or of the type of show it is, or maybe that they just do their own thing and the director comes up and tries to fix things, but they're like, no, I'm going to keep going my silly way. You know what I mean? Like, this is the thing. This is what the CW effect does to you. It makes you hurt. Another thing is quality. In other words, it could be the production, like the lighting, or the set pieces, or maybe even how clean the clothes look. Like they don't really look lived in or something like that. A good example might have been, in The Mandalorian, the season 3, essentially what it came down to, everybody around looks like they just built their own costumes. That's another part of the quality that CW has continued to push out there and really uglify everything. Another is basically a degree away from being a soap opera. When it comes to the soap opera acting, it's almost as if you just put that kind of the piano sound into any one of those moments, that's a part of the CW effect. Continuing on, another is the poor excuse of CGI. Lastly, the most egregious point that makes you think of any sort of CW production: random musical episodes. Okay, just stop. Please stop doing that. It is so hard to watch, and it boils my blood. People love it. I hate it so much. Okay, and with all that said, I do have a theory. The biggest culprit and the reasoning why we have the CW effect is time. Now, let me expand on this because, did I just drop a bomb? No. The idea of it is that productions take a while. Like, they take a long time to be able to build these things. When we had the first announcement from The Last of Us, it took Craig a long time to just build out the episode Bible how the things were being structured, the study of whatever they were trying to do, and maybe even like production design all the way into it. When it comes to CW, the same thing with ABC and CBS and all these other network shows, they've gotten it down to a formula. So the formula dictates how much time is going to be spent on these things. The production, okay, so we'll just hire some of these directors. They're going to get right out and they're going to be able to hit each one of these things, these OTS, simple things to be able to be covered. We'll hit that within that 6 hour, 12 hour, I mean, not 6 hour day. Come on, that'll never happen. That 12 hour to 16 hour day. And then we will just rinse and repeat. Oh, it's just a CW show. Well, who cares? Right? Like that, I think that's probably a little bit of the attitude toward these things. But the aspect of it is that if they were given more time outside of the outline and the routine that CW has already placed, then maybe you could have a better production. I don't know. That's just what I think. But look, I mean, the one thing that I want to make sure is a disclaimer. I don't blame anybody when it comes to those productions, as it is part of their job, right? The people that are shooting, the people that are editing, post-production to production, even to pre-production, even some of the writing, because of time, right? I just think that they would, if they were given more time, then they can produce better. I don't know. It's just a theory. It's just a theory. CW also does this thing. I mean, they're smart about it. They will exhaust you into a production. So for instance, they will start out with one good season and then they will find that there is that audience that is going to continue to keep coming back. And by the time that you're, almost tired with it, it's like you have to keep going with it because you've already spent so much time.
Hey, I have spent a lot of time and I have eaten a lot of crap to get to where I am today. And I am not throwing it all away now.
You basically got to see it the whole way through or really, continue on until they kill you. But I don't want to end this, on just a sour note of me just saying this stuff out loud. I do want to highlight the good TV shows that have come from CW that might have spoiled. Who knows? I didn't see many of these. So, according to Entertainment Weekly, there is the 10 best CW shows of its first 10 years. Oh, well, that it narrows it because it's like also like, hey, this is also, we've exhausted the audience into keeping these people watching these stupid shows. One is Supernatural.
Come on! Get off! Give it back!
I've never seen Supernatural. I think it looks good. I mean, Veronica Mars that got canceled and brought back to life, and who gives a shit about that one? Gilmore Girls.
If you're out on the road.
Started out as a CW production. I think it actually moved to another production house. But I will say, I was kind of bullied into loving that show. I've watched every episode of it probably a million times now. Every one of the episodes. Of course, the classic Smallville. Now that is another one of those things where first two seasons good, and then all of a sudden you're just kind of like, why wouldn't anybody recognize Clark Kent as Superman? He's just doing all the Superman things as like an 18-year-old. You're like, the logic behind it just turned into the CW effect. Vampire Diaries, never saw that. Gossip Girl.
I'm Chuck Bass. I'm Chuck Bass. I'm Chuck Bass. I'm Chuck Bass.
I've seen it. It was sometimes on in the back. I'm realizing this now. I'm making this because of every time my wife is watching something that reminds me of a CW production that I can't get it out of my head. And this is maybe the way that I'm doing it. So thank you to everybody that is watching this and maybe feeling the exact same thing. The Flash.
Oh, God.
Of course, like I said, first good season, maybe second good season. But then it just went downhill. I do want to say, though, that out of everybody there, Grant Gustin is just incredible. Jane the Virgin, One Tree Hill. Anyway, I wanted to, make sure to kind of give you some of those highlights because there are so many terrible, terrible CW productions out there. And I'm sure that you know it. Look, if you're a fan, if you're not a fan, I understand from every one of these point of views. I get it. But that was just one of the things that I was trying to get my point across, my thoughts out. The Soapbox is over. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.